Hey, what's up, everybody, and welcome to the Drinks with Johnny show. Another edition, another episode to Season 5. I'm, of course, joined by my co-host, Brandon Lombardo and Sam the Hawk Hawkins.
Hey,
today, we're going to be having another discussion, couple open topics, that maybe one or two that have been picked from the fans, some of you guys listening at home. And we're going to have a couple of old friends in the band Hollywood Undead stopping by. We've got Charlie Scene and Johnny Three Tears. Sorry. I'll apologize when he gets on. But so, hey guys, how are you guys doing today, first off?
First off, don't lie. You know you got him confused with your favorite artist, Shaggy 2 Dope. Sorry.
That's what it was. That's what it was. You got me. You got me good. That was if you all heard that on the audio, that was my son slamming the door on his way out. So that was really cool.
Nice. I got mine over here screaming about Play-Doh, so it's all good.
I told mine to stay out of the room and do not bug me for the next hour and a half.
Fantastic.
I got a lot of good questions for these guys. You know, I don't know if did you guys see on their social media that Charlie recently found out he had a brother through 23andMe? This is something that I want to ask him about.
Yeah, you sent me that the other night when we knew that they were coming on. Definitely interested in that. And speaking on social media, though, too, I wanted to start this conversation off with you guys as a general topic for this episode is just where we're at in society and social media. I mean, in general. And I think these guys coming on can give a unique perspective, at least with the tie-in of music and stuff. Because if you guys remember back in the day, they were like the first band, I want to say, that was signed by MySpace Records back in the day. And so there should be a little bit more well-versed, or at least have a unique perspective as to, you know, from 2008 or 9 or whenever that was to where we are today in 2023 with social media and the impact it's had on both music and society. Because again, I don't know about you guys obviously are a little bit more well-versed than I am sometimes in social media. Well, definitely Brandon. But, you know, like for me, I just got like a personal Instagram account in 2018. I don't even really know how to use it. We only have social media really for this project, let's be real. So it's just interesting. And we've had so many different guests over the last few seasons that have weighed heavily on their social media outlets and stuff. And it's just, I'm really curious to see how this works with these guys in a band that's been around for these years and toured with us back in the day. And I mean, just their perspectives on it. I mean, what do you guys think?
It was on MySpace Records. That was a real thing?
It was either MySpace Records. I don't know if they called themselves MySpace Records, but they were signed by MySpace.
Wow, that brings me back.
That's what I remember. That's why I'm bringing.
When we
took them out on the
Tila Tequila.
Yeah, Tila Tequila was dude. This is all like 15 years ago now, and we had them out. We had the guys from Hollywood Undead out with us, and I want to ask them if they remember if it was with the Deftones and Ghost, or if they were on a different leg from Ghost. It was a tour that we did back in. I don't even want to speculate. We'll have to look it up. But man, I just wanted to bring up the social media part of it again real quick, just because I've been more heavily on like Twitter and things like that. And everyone's going crazy about these blue checks on Twitter and everything that Elon Musk has done. And the more I read it, I mean, the more I read stuff on social media, the more I realize that it's just a place for haters, which I understand. It's okay. That's your entertainment, but you got to like not take it so seriously. Cause I mean, I was talking to you, Sam, this weekend. I went and saw Shazam. I couldn't find a good review on social media of this movie. I went with my son and my wife. I enjoyed it. So I'm like, I mean, did I just get like bamboozled, or does everyone only have negative things to say on social media at this point?
I think you got to seek it out. If you want some more positive content, I mean, you can find it. I mean, it's funny how you talk about how negative everything is. And I mean, we got enough bullshit in our daily lives. And the accounts that I follow, there's several people where I just like, you know what? Too much downer talk, or even if like some people that are following them are all just talking shit, like, yeah, it's funny at first, but it gets old real quick. I'm curious to see, you talk about how they were in MySpace, how they started with social media. I have noticed that them and Papa Roach, who have the same management, they're very social media heavy. They do a lot of posts, they do a lot of the reels and the videos, and it's got to be a big thing. I mean, maybe we're too old. Brandon's trying to give you lessons on how to use Twitter earlier today and things like that. So,
why do you have to put a period before the @ on Twitter, dude?
Bro, I didn't make it. I don't know, but you have to.
That's so bizarre.
That's like Twitter. It's Twitter 101, dude.
I guess. I mean, I didn't take the class. All right, I just don't understand all these nuances. Where I mean, you guys have both made fun of me numerous occasions on my social media posts. So I mean, and all the listeners at home, our filthy family over in the Discord. You know, I'm constantly called a boomer for it, and I don't even know what qualifies a boomer. So I'm just gonna let it go. You know, I clearly know nothing about this world that all the kids are in right now, but I'm interested to learn. I probably won't do anything with that knowledge, but I'm interested to learn why everyone takes so much, I don't know, stake in what social media is. Cause I just don't think, I think it's at this point, it's proven that it is fun and entertaining, but you don't need to like take a lot of stock in it, right? You don't need to like,
it's entertainment.
It's
dude.
not
That's it.
super
You nailed
serious.
it. It's entertainment. That's it. Look at it like that. It's entertainment. That's how you have to look at it. It's like the news, dude. It's entertainment.
where were you guys with MySpace? So I'm 41, almost 42. I'm a little bit older than both of you guys. And I remember I read something once that my age, class of 2000, was the last year that you could go all through high school and 4 years of college and not have social media. Because after that, the MySpace and the Facebook started, I think, around 2004. What were you guys doing? Did you have all the account? Were you guys all in, or did you guys not fuck with that? Or were you guys all about that back in the day?
I had it. I still have a MySpace. Like the page is still active. You can find it.
It's still a thing? You can go on MySpace still?
Yeah. So I have like.
they
photos
almost,
on
didn't
there
they
and
try
shit.
and do like a revamp of it not too long ago with like Pharrell and shit?
Yeah. I think it's dead, but like the pages are still alive, so it's fun to go and look at it.
Yeah, for me, you say it was like 2003, 2004, probably. That's right when I joined the band Avenged Sevenfold and started hitting the road, man. Like, and I didn't have a cell phone on the first several tours that I went on with. I would use a pay card and go to a phone booth and stuff if I wanted to call family or talk to anyone. So I mean, I was very, very far from this stuff. And then as a band, I think we had a MySpace page. I mean, I imagine we did. I don't remember who was running it from our camp or anything. It might have been Zach. Zach might have been doing it, or someone from the label. And then we got a Facebook eventually. And then, like I said, it's not till pretty recently that I even started looking at social media. So it's just that's why I have no knowledge of any of this.
But it is important. I mean, going back to Sam's statement earlier about Hollywood and Papa Roach, I just saw them on the most recent like Rockzilla tour. And for one of the Papa Roach songs, they had a guy out there doing the entire thing. I don't know if they were streaming it live or whatnot, but he was doing it all cell phone and just like working the band. It was cool to see it.
Now, wait. The way that Brandon just held up his hands for the cell phone makes me think he had one of those apparatuses around. Those are cool. I don't
know if it was if it was like a steady cam or if he was just like holding it in there and just freehanding it, but yeah, it was cool.
Yeah, those. Have you seen those, Sam?
I have seen those, and they have some that kind of like move with it, so it keeps it level. Yeah,
they're usually on 3 axis, and it's like a steady cam.
And then they have like the mics too. Have you fucked around with those mics at all? Mm-mm. They have them where they look like they have like the muffs on them and stuff, like for the windbreakers and stuff. But it looks like it plugs into the phone too, so they're getting a better audio quality than what just comes off of the phone.
That's cool. If you go to like they do it, WWE does it too. If you go to some live shows, you'll see the guys at ringside filming content with those.
Well, these cameras are so good anymore. Like, and it's just so funny how you got something in your palm of your hand. I have like old videos, and I don't even know what to do with it anymore. I'm like, oh, do I want to put these to digital? What do I do that? And then like, okay, then I house these, and these kids today have like millions of hours of videos they're never going to go through. And then meanwhile, from our childhood, we got like a few, like maybe a day worth of videos.
Totally.
Yeah. I'm curious how the next generation's going to.
We didn't have a camcorder in my house growing up. So there's pictures, and that's it. And we weren't even that good. I'm terrible at taking pictures to this day. And I think it's because we just didn't take pictures a lot in my house. Like it wasn't a thing. We'd take them around the holidays, hold up what Santa brought you, hold up what, and take a picture. That was most of the pictures that I have.
Yeah, it's crazy to see how kids' lives are documented now compared to like our childhood. I know even Owen, like the first 6 months of his life, I would bust out my big camera and like try to film cool content. And then I'm like, this is so fucking cumbersome. Why am I doing this? Let me just pull my phone out. It's going to be just as good.
Yeah.
Right.
You know?
And not only that, you could edit on them. I mean, you could do all your own edits right there on the same thing. You don't even need to export it and like mess around like that, you know?
Well, bro, what do you think about AI video? Have you seen that shit?
I haven't. I haven't heard about AI video. What is that?
I mean, exactly what you would think.
Sound,
like AI generated video clips, and it's fucking wild, dude.
Where are they generating it from? Are they like taking images that you put in and then they're turning it into video, or are they just literally creating something out of the clear? I want to say clear blue sky, but it's obviously artificial intelligence doesn't exist there, does it?
Yeah,
not yet.
Yeah, I have no idea what it's like aggregating to get the video content, but it's insane, man.
Wow, you're gonna have to show me some of that after we're done here today. You got to send some in our group chat because I'm interested.
People love it and some people hate it. I don't really give a shit about it either way. It's just a program making stuff. It makes some cool stuff, but like, it's not like it's ever gonna take away human art. No one's gonna go, I want this full time. You know, I feel like there's artists complaining about it, and it's all bullshit if you ask me. But
dude, that's interesting. You bring that up because I remember, and I don't know if you guys remember this too, but like back in the '90s when I was in middle school was really when they started bringing out these more expansive keyboards that can literally like do all the instruments for the first time, and they didn't sound great at the time. But they had Casios before, but these ones, like I remember the guy came to my school and like did a performance with them, and I was in middle school. I really remember. He's like, and one of the other kids was like, "Oh, is this going to replace real music, basically?" And the guy was just like, "No, like you still need a human element. Someone still needs to play it. Someone still needs to tell it what to do." And I know AI is much more advanced than that, but it is funny because it's like everyone's saying they took our jobs South Park style before the jobs have even been taken, right? It's like, it's like, come on, man. Like, let's see where this goes a little bit. Like, don't be so scared. Like if you're secure in your ability to create, then you shouldn't. I mean, it's the old, what was the guy's name that, Henry, that goes against the steam engine, the old school. Do you guys remember that? The old fable where it was man versus machine.
I'm still young, dude. I don't know.
Sam, the wise man, the elder.
Well, I was thinking the little choo-choo that
John
could,
Henry?
but that's not what you're talking
John
about.
Henry, right?
What?
John Henry. It's John Henry, right?
That sounds familiar. Sure. We'll say yeah.
Yeah, we'll go with it. Yeah.
It is now.
And this has been more old man talk with old references and how do you work a camera and a phone? Should I get my mom in here? We'll just talk about how she can't use her remote for her TV.
Hey, dude, it's all good. I don't know if kids listen to podcasts. Who knows? It's probably a bunch of other people our age,
Oh, no, but dude, you're right. If you're an artist and you're scared about AI, dude, why? It's a tool that's going to make you more creative and make things easier for you. There's still going to be people that don't know how to use it. I don't know.
Well, go ahead, Sam.
It's going to help people. Well, it'll help save on marketing and things like that. So yes, people will lose that if I can just ask this thing to create what I want. But I'm just curious too about how it's pulling things, how that end up tying to copyright and things like that. So if I ask it to make an ad for me that looks like Snoop Dogg but isn't, well, if it's like close on, can they still sue me for stealing likeness and things like that? Or can I be like, no, I created this art, but no, you didn't. The AI pulled it from X, Y, and Z. I'm just curious. I mean, there's so many different questions of how it's going to go.
There's a good like Supreme Court case about that. It was the Obama like Hope poster, the iconic like Hope poster. I'm sure you've seen it. It's
Shepard Fairey.
Shepard Fairey. Yeah. But like that defined what it takes to be slightly different to not fall into that copyright category. I forget what the outcome was. This is fucking me going back to college brain, but I don't remember.
Are you saying that because Obama doesn't have any ownership of it?
It was whoever created it.
Yeah.
Well, it was Shepard Fairey made it, right?
Yeah, Shepard Fairey. Yeah, he made it, but but he's a public figure, so I feel like that's fair game.
It's fair. It is fair game. I know a little bit about that.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, weren't you on Judge Jerry for that stuff?
Not for that one.
Unrelated. That was unrelated.
but it was art and judicial system. So
yeah. I'll tell you off camera. I got a thing I'm working now too. It's probably gonna get me right back there.
Oh yes.
I'm glad you're doing our merch. Thanks a lot, Brandon.
I want another episode of Judge Jerry.
This one would be Judge Jerry. This one would be a real judge.
Oh.
Round 2, huh?
This is like round 4 for him, actually.
Well, I mean, what do you look like at church? What do you wear to church? What do you wear to court, Brandon? Do you wear a suit? Do you just wear a collared shirt? What do you look like when you go to church?
I wear a suit, dude. I clean up, man.
He cleans up, but still wears a prairie dog foot on your ear?
That was fake court.
So you're saying you're not going to show up with that for real court?
I will say, in my one appearance in federal court, I did not wear pants because it was during the pandemic. So I did just have a button up, and that was it.
Wait. You were wearing nothing underneath the table?
Mm-mm.
Wow.
Like naked or just shorts?
Peeing into a bottle.
No way.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
In federal court?
Yeah.
You're such punk rock.
Dude. That's some cool shit right there. That's some hardcore stuff.
Yeah, man. It's fun. Pandemic was a fucking wild time.
For some of us, apparently. I mean.
Johnny, I know you've been arrested once. Have you been arrested more than once?
No. Only been arrested the one time. I just spent one night in jail for DUI. It wasn't like a... I've never been convicted of anything too crazy, you know.
Have you been to jail, Brandon?
Dewey? I haven't been to jail.
They put you in the drunk take or whatever. It's like overnight jail. Technically there could be other people in there for you, but it's not like they take you to county or anything for that.
Gotcha.
It's like local jail. So.
No, I've never been to jail. I've been arrested, but I haven't gone to jail.
What about you, Sam?
No, I am like
anything from back in your Juggalo days?
Nope. No, dude, I'm always that guy who like I'll maybe have an idea, but I won't do it. But I'll be like, hey man, it'd be really cool if you stole that thing over there. It would look really cool at your house. And then I'll watch them do it, but I somehow think that.
So you're an instigator.
I know. Karen. Instigator, but I'm also like an assailant or whatever. But I'm never actually the one doing it. So somehow in my mind I justify that. But no, I've never done anything too bad. So. My dad was too strict, dude. I was more scared of my dad than jail. So I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's a fair point. I mean, man. But anyways, as you're talking about more scared of your parents, we're talking about kids and stuff and being in social media. I mean, our kids are younger, you know, for the most part, except for you have a just about teenage daughter over there, Sam.
Yep, she'll be 12 next week.
Oh yeah. Wow.
Jeez. How do you plan on parenting around social media? I mean,
you know, it's funny. So for my daughter,
because some people are so I don't know wrapped up in social media, and especially kids, it really messes with their their ego, good and bad, and their impressions of themselves. It seems like out there, for people like us who have lived on one side of it as well, it's easier for us to look at words and falls off our back. But you see the Social Dilemma documentary, the after school special that it was, and there's a lot of fair points in it though. It's like, how do you develop a thicker skin when this is so out there at all times? Yeah.
Well, she turns 12 next week, like I said, and we just gave her, actually, because we'll be in Hawaii next week, so we won't be here for a party. So we bought her a phone, and that was her 12-year-old birthday and present. And the only reason why we really did it is she's getting to the point now where she's going out with friends. We need her to call her when she's done. We used to give my wife's phone or my phone to her, but as far as what she can do or not do, like, we're not quite at like letting her on social media or anything. And she's been pretty good about not asking about it. Some of her friends have TikTok, so they'll go on that or whatever, but I don't know. It's hard, and I think I might have even said it on here. I joke, but it's the truth. Is like my goal in life is just to get my kids to like 18 without taking nudie pictures of themselves. Just because I don't know if they fully understand the ramification though of that shit's there forever. I even said something to my son the other day, kind of similar about how things don't disappear. And he's like, "What do you mean? I just delete it." I'm like, "You never know. Like people screenshot. Like things can stay there forever." And while he doesn't know like the grander thing that I'm talking about, it's still like they just don't get it. They're all about now, not long term. So, yeah. So I'm just we're gonna do the best we can, and I can report back on that. But
Yeah.
I'm curious when your guys' kids. I mean, Frankie's a little behind, but Owen's. I mean, everything's gonna change by then.
Yeah, I was gonna say, who the fuck even knows what it's gonna be like by the time he's 12? You know, that's 10 years from now. Like, dude, look how far we've come just in the past 10 years.
Yeah,
it's gonna be exponentially different than it is now. So I can't even.
I just hope that people stay. The only bad thing about the phones, I think, is just the human interaction of going out and doing things. There's just, we're all, victims of being a screamed zombie or whatever. We do our things, but like, I don't know, just we have friends who have, like teenagers and 20-year-olds, and they're just kind of recluses, and they do everything through their computer or their phone, and that's how they make friends, and no one wants to get a license anymore because why do I need to get a license? So
that's a thing? No one
you haven't heard that? Oh, that's a thing.
No.
Like people are like, I don't need it. I get rides from my parents, or I can Uber.
Nephews.
You haven't heard that either?
I've got nephews that are old enough, that have been old enough to drive for a while and still don't have their license. I mean, I honestly, I don't necessarily fault them for that one. I mean, you've got Uber now. You kind of know where you need to go most of the time. You still got your Chevrolets and a bicycle. If you're a teenager and your parents aren't going to cover the cost of your car, gas, and insurance, how are you going to afford any of that either? So, I mean, I also understand where it's like, I don't really need to learn how to drive. It seems crazy to our generation because I'm like you guys. As soon as I had the chance to get my driver's permit and license and go through that whole thing, I was like, dude, I'm doing this. This is what gets me out of the house. Yeah. You don't need that stuff. You could get out of the house without it, And to Sam's point, a lot of them don't want to leave the house anymore. Right. So it's like, I don't know.
That's crazy, man. It was always get the license, drive to the mall, and then go smoke weed in the car.
Drive to the mall to smoke weed in the car. Okay.
It's crazy.
I think that was just in Newcastle, bro.
Maybe. Was that a thing for you guys? Like who rides?
What are who rides?
Oh, wow. So that's not even a term you guys know.
Right.
Or like hitting the cut. That's not a thing for you? Hitting the cut?
No. Explain.
No. Please explain yourself, though.
So like a who ride is just like going on a drive to smoke weed, like a blunt or some joints. And like same thing, like hitting the cut. Like you hit the cut and you just find some backcountry roads and you drive around. I can't believe that's not a term you guys have ever heard.
I would do that. I would do both of those things, but I didn't have like a fancy cool word or phrase for it, rather.
What did you guys say? Hey, let's go smoke some weed in the car.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to go hotbox the car real quick.
Hotbox, yeah, okay. But hotbox, like you would usually just park the car somewhere. A who ride?
Not always, like, baby. Not when you like to drive dangerously.
And yeah, we don't recommend driving and smoking weed. It's a bad thing. Don't do that.
No, in general, it's really not bad. Yeah,
DWI.
Yeah.
It's even worse.
Yeah. I mean, that shit's gonna happen though.
You know what's crazy that I talked to you talking about, Brandon? You're talking about different terms and going to different places. When I was young, I grew up in Central California where it was all dairies and orchards. And so we would go party there. And I've talked to my wife who's from Palm Desert, and they used to go to the desert because it's like where no one's at. And then she would go visit her cousin in Colorado, and they would go do these things called woodsies where they're out in the middle of the woods. Did you guys go to, well, you wouldn't go to the beach because it's not isolated here, right, Johnny? And then like, where would you go for you, Brandon? Or was it just house parties?
House parties. There was this place called like the Cabin, and it was down like back in the woods, and it was kind of like that. Woodsies is a funny term.
Right.
Woodsies is a funny term. I just like the terms more than what you guys are actually describing.
Yeah.
I'm like, I mean, in a sense, we all did the same shit, right? It was just, I didn't have the cool terms for it. It was like, I went to house parties, a lot of those, local concerts to get out, there's a lot of great little venues here for that. And then, to go like park and smoke, there's a couple of hills that like overlook like the wetlands here and stuff that we'd go and do. I don't know. I don't think we really talked about it in my group of friends. We kind of just like knew it's like, who's got some weed and we know where we're going. You know what I mean? It's like, We didn't have. I guess maybe it's just because I wasn't cool and I didn't have a cool term for it. I don't know.
I mean, that could have been.
Yeah, that's probably it. No, you brought up a cool thing though with the music venues. Like you're in a place where you have like a music scene and you have venues to go to. Sam, what was it like where you were, like up in the dairy farms? Did you guys have?
Well, you know what? I bet you. I mean, some of your stories weren't a little more crazy than mine, but I mean, I grew up in like a small town, and now it's not. It was for those who are in the area. It's like Modesto, Turtle Rock, Manteca, but it used to be literally like I grew up in Manteca, and we had this place called Spreckles, and it smelled like cow shit, so it was called Manstinka. People are like, "Oh, you live in Manstinka." Well, Manteca is funny anyways because it's lard in Spanish. So anytime you tell anyone I'm from lard, people laugh. But and then Turd Lock, like everything like just smelled like shit because it was all just dairies. And we would actually go to people's dairies and party. And I remember one time we did paintball out in the dairies, and this one guy just fell in a complete, like almost like quicksand of shit, and just got up and was just covered in cow shit. And I don't know.
Was it like Chris Farley and Black?
Exactly. And so nice. No, so where I grew up, it was quiet. It was house parties. I mean, anywhere we could go where there wasn't adults around is kind of what the thing is. I don't know if it's necessarily like that as much anymore. I feel like people are a little weirder. It's harder to get on private property with cameras and shit anymore. But I mean, we used to go to Story Road. Like how, like stereotypical would that be? It's called Story Road, and that's where we would go to party, and where we had so many stories from having just these massive parties. So it was kind of cool. I don't know what was your question? I even forgot.
It was a music scene. Did you have a music scene?
Oh, a music scene? No.
He had a shit. He had apparently a cow shit scene.
Shit.
Just a bunch of shit everywhere.
Did you ever go cow tipping?
I never went, but I think people had. I don't. You know what? It's funny growing up there. I didn't know one person who actually cow tipped until I probably got in my 20s. So I didn't really know it was a thing. Music scene though, we'd have to go up to San Francisco or Sacramento to go to anything fun.
Yeah.
Did you have to go very far, Brandon?
Yeah, either like Pittsburgh or Cleveland, really. We had a local scene, which was just like smaller local bands, but it was run by a pedophile, so that was cool.
Ooh.
Man, your stories, man.
How did that Newcastle's a different breed. Sam, you got to go out and see this place. I mean, I saw it in 2022. I have no idea what it looked like when Homeboy was there. So.
Well, all I picture is Mad Max. Do you just live in the Mad Max world where it's just apocalyptic and?
That's what my office is turning into right now. The kids wheeling in the noisiest toy ever.
That's awesome.
You got him this thing. Yeah, it's a fucking basketball hoop.
Yeah.
I'll unblur my background.
Uncle Johnny showed up with that bitch. How you still liking? What's up, Nugget?
He doesn't even play with it like a basketball hoop. He just wheels it around.
That's fantastic. However he plays with it, he plays with it. It's great.
It's awesome. It's so loud.
Well, we're still waiting on the Hollywood Undead guys right now. They are supposed to be showing up here in a second. I just emailed their manager. He said he'd be back to me in a second. But they do have a new record coming out on April 28th that we should plug a little bit here called Hotel California. You got 2 singles out on it right now. Have you guys listened to this at all yet?
I haven't listened to it. I did just see them in concert, so I probably heard at least some of these songs.
Yeah, it's like the new songs are Salvation and something evil. Let me look it up real quick so I don't say the wrong thing here.
I just still pop for that weenie song. Like that's a good one, man.
Dude, Charlie Cena's got a weenie that he liked to show. That is
that he loves to show, Johnny. He loves to show it.
Yeah, it doesn't even like to show it. You should have has to show it. Yeah, it's Evil and Salvation, the 2 new tracks. They're pretty good. I listened to them the other day. But then I went through the catalog, speaking of that song, and I was listening to these guys. And as I said, we did a tour together years ago. And when I was listening to it, it just brought me back to that tour, like walking around backstage. I'm getting ready, warming up, doing whatever. And I hear them on stage, and I just be like dancing in the back, you know? Because, I mean, they're fun party songs, especially, they've gotten it sounds like on the new record, we'll hopefully get into that a little bit with them, but it's a little gone away from that scene a little bit. But at the time when they were popping with those songs, I mean, it was it was the party anthem, man. Like it was rock rap party anthem. Throw your cups up and have a good time. You know, and kudos to them for being a part of that.
I don't know if it was this album or the last one. I did hear Johnny 3 Tears on something else, and he had talked about how I think it was the last album was the first album that they didn't write songs and bring them in. They had a producer and they all kind of wrote it together. And I'm wondering if that's the case with this new one or if it was just the last one. I know the last album was a 2-parter and I liked it a lot. I thought it was good. The first one's a little more rock. The second one's got a little more hip hop, a little more emotional. And I think it's pretty good. And they have such a range. So if you don't like 1 or 2 songs, just keep listening. They kind of got, a completely different vibe than Avenged, but very similar of like, hey, we got something for everybody kind of thing. So I don't know. But I've never seen them live. I think it would be it's got to be like a party, like you said.
Yeah, dude, when they used to play with us on, like, they actually had these masks that were like kind of chrome looking. Like, do they still have those, Brandon? When you saw them?
I was actually gonna ask you because I was far back. I just got to the venue when they were like wrapping up, so I caught the end of their set, so I couldn't even see. But I saw them at Aftershock fucking years ago, and they had the masks, and they were so cool. So I don't know if they still wear them.
Yeah, I don't know either. I know even at that time I think they would start the sets with the masks, to be honest. And if I remember correctly, they'd take them off towards the end or at some point throughout the show. But yeah, they used to, because that's how they did all their photo shoots at the time too. If you guys remember, like even on their earlier albums, they were wearing masks. There were different masks for different albums, I believe.
Yeah.
But yeah, that at one point I remember they kind of looked like chrome. Mm-hmm. They were like mirrored or shiny like that. That are the ones that I'm thinking of in my head from that tour.
Yeah, I think each tour they do a different one. And I thought he mentioned on that same interview that there's one tour or maybe one that's coming that they're not. It just doesn't fit this thing, and they're not doing it just to do it. It's if it works. So I don't know. But
the boys.
Yo,
Charlie and Johnny from Hollywood Undead.
Yeah, we're here.
How are you guys?
God, you guys look great. Good to see you again, man.
Yeah, it's been way too long, man. I know when we started this project with my co-host Brandon and Sam Hawkins, I know you guys were going to come on when you were back in like Burbank years ago.
Yeah, when we were local.
We never got it scheduled.
Okay, so your manager or our manager worked with, his name's Alex. Do you know Alex?
Alex Reese, yeah.
Alex Reese. And he was like, "Oh, don't go on there. Those guys are assholes." And I was like, "Oh."
He wasn't wrong, but I'm glad he came anyway.
No, dude. Hey, guys, I know Jordan started the apology. I just want to double apologize. We really, really thought this was Thursday. I have no idea why. Just so you guys know, I hate doing that to your guys' time.
Yeah, no, it's totally good. I'm just glad we're on your time now because I got a nice view of your house.
Yeah, you gave us a cribs tour.
Right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, dude, this place is a piece of shit, dude. I live in the project still.
He Airbnb'd a house just to look like.
That's like okay. It's just for this. Okay.
Yeah. So you
I don't know. That's a really nice project house, man. I've seen some project houses. That one,
dude, the projects are
like a
dialed
project
these
house
days.
I've ever been to.
Any Airbnb he goes to, he brings his gold records and platinum records and hangs them on the wall too, like a total asshole.
Hey, you gotta have them to hang somewhere, man.
That's all I got.
Well, okay, so now that you guys are on, we'll get into the new record coming out and the new tour that you guys are on, and we'll plug that. But the way that we're doing this season of Drinks with Johnny is the three of us are starting off a conversation of some kind of topic that maybe you guys might have a unique perspective on. So this one, we were going for like social media, what it means today and what it was like when you guys were coming up. Because obviously anybody who knows Hollywood Undead knows the story of how you guys came up on MySpace. And we're one of the first acts signed over there. So you guys have a unique perspective, right, on what social media has done for music. And let's even take it a step further and see where it is now in 2023 versus MySpace back in 2008 or whatever the shit it was,
right,
and how it's affected society more than what it was back when it was just MySpace, right?
Man, Well, one thing that I think of is now a label, I feel like, won't even sign the best band ever, Beatles #2, unless they have a huge following on TikTok or Instagram or any of those things. It doesn't matter about how good they are. Now it only matters about how many people give a shit right off the bat.
Well, that's unfortunate too, because there's so many cover artists, right, who are just playing someone else's songs and they cover it and they have these massive followings. Totally. They're not writing their own stuff, right?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And then they get in a room to write their own stuff and they fucking suck.
Well, it's also, I don't want to throw anybody under the bus quite like that. We won't name names or anything, but we definitely know a little bit about that. And it's just interesting to me, though, when you bring up a label not signing for that reason, that seems so ass backwards, because through doing this show alone, I've noticed that having a large social media following doesn't necessarily transfer to the rest of the world, right? I mean, it's not like you could have millions of followers on Instagram, and on a festival day, let's say, you're still playing while the sun's out. And we all know what that means, right?
Totally.
So, like, it doesn't equate to me. It doesn't make a lot of sense. It's interesting that's the case.
Yeah. I just don't think they want to take a risk anymore, you know? Like labels now, I mean, they're all hurting as far as, you know, more than ever now. So they want something that's more of a sure thing. So if someone has 3 million followers on TikTok, they're like, hey, we'll put them with the best songwriter and the best producer. And that is more of a guarantee than like having some band that plays to 100 people who are really good.
That's
well, I think even what you're saying, Jordan, is because like
it's Charlie, bro.
Producers now are the stars now. They're the guys. So it's like, you know, back in the day, it's, you know, you got Jordan brought up the Beatles, you got John Lennon, you got all these different people, but now it's like, who can we hire to make us sound better?
Yeah,
that really is. Yeah, or no one wants the responsibility of writing the music anymore.
Yeah,
and it's you know, we've been doing this for a long enough time. You guys have been doing it even longer, where it's like, okay, so our social responsibility as far as like being musicians is like gone now, and that trips me out, because you know, the whole idea behind Hollywood Undead was like, hey, let's just do whatever the fuck we want. Now you don't do what you want, you do what somebody else wants. And it wasn't like that, I don't think, back in the day. Yeah. And I think that has a lot to do with social media, the expectations, and, you know, labels want to sell records and no one's selling or whatever streams now, which is, you know, obviously a whole nother scenario.
Oh yeah.
But from our perspective, it was like, hey, you know, let's just be us. Well, if us stop selling, you kind of have to go along that trajectory, or whatever everybody else is doing. I don't think that was always the case. You might even know better than us, Johnny. You guys been a successful band for a really, really long time. We don't get away with doing what we want anymore. It's more like, you know, I don't know.
What do you mean?
We can't get away with it.
It's like catering to other people?
I think it's, or not even just other people, but the labels in general. We're on BMG, which is a great label, but they're going to want to know, okay, we're going to put some money into this thing. We have to sell records. We don't have it. There's no throwing rice at the wall and letting some of it stick.
Yeah.
Like there used to be, where it's like, dude, you get one project that sells, that can make up for the other 10 that don't.
Yeah.
Now it's like, hey, before we do anything, like you said, Jordan, you know, you have to have a gazillion followers on TikTok or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
The industry's changed.
Yeah.
In that sense.
What do you think, Johnny?
Yeah. Well, you know, I think that's interesting for a lot of different reasons. One, we never felt that from our label. I mean, even to this day, any of that pushback, we've always been able to do whatever it is that we want. And I think that's what allows us to be more creative. I think that everything that you're describing is literally taking the creativity out of everything about it.
Yeah.
I think that's unfortunate. And maybe that's a little bit of a eye-opening thing, as I hear you say it too, when I listen to music on radio stations, and you know, again, I don't want to throw anybody under the bus for whatever reason. It just sounds like it's going through, you know, the machine belt, the conveyor belt of music, and everybody's got the same sound with the same thing.
Totally.
Like, you might, I mean, to our earlier conversation, Brandon and Sam, like, I mean, you might as well have AI write these songs for them, you know, like that's, I mean, if it's going to all sound the same, why not? I think what it should do is encourage those that are maybe listening and want to be more creative, because here's the deal. In every generation of music, there has always been something that pigeonholes you for a time period. Before us, it was nu metal. Then we were part of the metalcore scene, whatever that was. And we've constantly, at least in our band, pushed ourselves away from being pigeonholed in that, both consciously and subconsciously. We're kind of against the grain on that way of thinking. And I think that's helped us stand out in the crowd over the years in a lot of ways. So I hope that, you know, someone can take what I just said there and use it as inspiration to be more creative and be outside of it.
Yeah.
My question is with the social media follow-up though, like when you say they're looking for something tried and true, do you feel like that was what MySpace was trying to do with you guys early on? Because you had such a big following, correct? And that's why they started to do that?
For sure. That 100% what it was. That's why, like, we had Tom messaging us himself saying, like, hey, are you guys signed? We had 3-6 Mafia and the Strokes, like all these artists like we loved, hitting us up because they'd never seen a band unsigned with those kind of numbers. So I feel like maybe we were one of the first that ever happened, where it's like, oh, they have a huge social media following, never played a show. Who knows if these guys are good, but it's worth a shot. Like, let's sign these guys and get them in the studio. The good thing was we weren't just like TikTok stars or guys who just singing covers or putting shit up there. Like, we were songwriters and we were in bands our entire life before that. So we know how to act in a studio. We know how to write songs. We had 1 million by the time we did go into a studio. So I think it's different than other bands who just like, it's kind of fake. They just go on there to be famous. Like, we didn't put our shit on MySpace like to get noticed or famous. Like, we did it because we wanted to write this style of music and it was fun.
I think a lot of it too, like, we had given up at that point. Like, when we put our music out on we were in bands, Jordan and I,
Charlie,
other dudes in the band, we were all in bands together
he's not
for a long time.
Hey, Charlie, he's not going to stop calling
Charlie,
Jordan.
unbelievable.
Sorry, Charlie. Sir Charles.
Don't you know about Charlie Scene over here? He has a weenie, and he'd like to show you all.
It's not Jordan.
Dude, he doesn't show it, though. Dude, I used to see, before he got married, I used to see his dick all the time. Now he's like,
are you saying his dick does no longer exist now that he's married? Is that?
Yeah, he acts like a little cock.
Hey, I took those vows. I took those vows. Stay true to him.
Yeah, he took those vows, and he's like, oh, I can't show you my dick anymore. I'm like, dude, what the fuck? Like, what did I sign up for?
Right.
You know, especially in the MySpace days, that was an agreement.
That was in contract, man. How can you go?
Yeah, that was part of it. Tom was like, dude, show your dick. He's like, all right. And he forget. He did. I don't know what's going on. I'm going to call Tom. No, I think for us, like, we were in the normal, like, you know, doing our thing. And then we gave up. We were like, dude, this industry sucks. And let's just make some music that we want to make. And that's what Hollywood Undead was. And then all of a sudden, so it's bizarre because we tried so hard by the normal industry standard, you know, sending demos, and we did our thing.
Mm-hmm.
At that point, I think we'd all kind of given up. And then that's when you blow, and it's like, okay.
Yeah, well, we did hip hop, which wasn't our genre. Like, we loved hip hop, but we tried to rock for our whole lives, which up to that point was 7 years or 6 years. So we're like, hey, let's do some hip hop for fun. Fuck it. And we threw it up there and it worked out. And then we were able.
I think there's a good lesson in that too, though. Like, not only did you try it one way and failed, but you learned from those failures, right? Whether you realize it or not, you didn't succeed until you said, fuck that way of doing it.
Right.
You didn't succeed until you started being true to yourself. And that's when you guys started to get the recognition. Right?
Totally. Not the idea of, hey, let's try to make it. We want to be big. We want to fucking be the next biggest rock band. We're like, hey, let's just do something for fun, and then it works out. You know, like not overthinking it, which is so huge.
Which, by the way, before we get to more of this, because now I want to bring it back full circle and go into the how everyone feels about social media in a societal speaking, and where it is for you guys coming up, like I said, from the very beginning of social media, let's say. But before we get there, let's keep it fun, because you did just mention how your music is fun, and I went back and listened to stuff because I know you guys were coming on, and I was like, all right, I'm throwing on Hollywood Undead on my way to rehearsal. I'm listening to the songs. And of course, the hits come on. You know, you got Undead, you got Bullet, you got Charlie Scene and showing his weenie. You know, and all I'm thinking about is that time when we were on tour together, and I'm walking backstage while you guys are playing, and I'm getting ready to head to my dressing room to go get dressed and get ready to go on, and just dancing around because it's a full on party at a Hollywood Undead show. At least at this time, I mean, that was totally. You guys made party anthems, you know, and that was like. And that was what was so intriguing to us to have you guys out. Is it still you guys still have like a full-on party, at least on stage? I mean, I know you guys are at your homes with your wives and kids now, so maybe it's not quite the party scene it was, 15 years ago, whenever the fuck that was.
No, dude, it is. My wife wants to leave me. I can't stop, Daddy. I can't stop, Johnny. I don't know what the fuck is wrong with me, baby.
Yeah.
No, I'll tell you, Johnny, I feel like before we weren't really sure what we were, what kind of band we were. Like, were we Nine Inch Nails? Were we Linkin Park? Were we Eminem? I don't know. But what we realized as far as playing shows and doing it now for 15 years is that we do have fun on stage, and it's real. So when people come to our shows, we really want them to have fun. So we try to keep the show up tempo and fun, like the shit we say in between songs and the songs we choose. Like, we really try to make it a party on stage and make it fun. And not only, I'm not just saying like party songs, like, oh, we have to sing songs about drinking and tits and shit, but it's like we try to keep it fun the entire time and entertaining. Which I feel like has really helped us, because if we're playing with other bands that are like some of the best musicians we've ever seen in our entire lives, I'm not saying we're not good too. But
you guys, for instance.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We're playing with Avenged Sevenfold. I'm not going to fucking out shred or outplay or out sing anyone, but dude, I will out party you motherfuckers.
Whoa. That's not how I remember that tour going down, you motherfucker. You want to talk some fucking partying?
Yeah, come on, drink with Johnny, bro. I want to do bumps with Johnny.
Dude, this is where Avenged really shreds, is they will out party.
That's true. That's hey, that's true. I did choose the wrong person, but let's say any other band besides you guys, we can out party.
Okay, that's fair. Well, I like to take. I don't want to take credit for that. That's the wrong word, but I like to. I like to think that when we took you guys out on that tour, maybe we showed you a couple things about partying afterward to go take it to those other tours you did for the
100%.
Johnny, I wanted to say something because Diony's a good friend of mine. Who you guys know, obviously, he's been was your TM, or that's how we met you dudes. You guys, out of all, like, when we were coming up and stuff, you guys were like the coolest, kindest band that we ever you guys were up here on this mountaintop to us, and you still are, but you guys treated us like bros. And I was like, actually, like, because there's a lot of bands who aren't like that, and it kind of like makes you like, damn, this isn't fun, this sucks, you know what I mean? But you guys, like, you were the only band I know of that was that's massive, and you guys treated us like normal dudes. And for when we were young, when we were coming up, that actually taught us a lesson, because then when we went and headlined and stuff like that, I was like, always, I still tell people to this day, Avenged, they're the nicest 100%. Dudes in the world. Like, never treated us, like we were the opener, which is what we were,
right? But
you never, that felt, it was nice because it showed us in future perspective, like, hey, when we started doing our own thing, how to treat people. You guys taught us how to treat people. In other words,
I agree. 100%.
Well, thank you guys for that. That's an honor, and I'm humbled by that statement, honestly. But it's always been a That's been our thing, man. We're all out there just trying to have a good time and entertain the people, make it fun for the people in the crowd. What are they paying their hard-earned money for? We get to fucking do music for a living. We get to do this for a living, guys. We get to go out on stage and entertain them for a living. They take their hard-earned paycheck and go see one of our shows. Exactly. The least we can do is give them a fucking good time about it.
Exactly. Right? Make them leave happy with a smile on their face. You know, it's like, it ain't easy to get a babysitter and spend all this money when, you know, and go see someone. Like, you want them to leave like stoked as fuck. Like, I want to go see that shit again.
Absolutely.
Until you stop showing your dick, which
no, I show it
circa 2008. Dude, you stopped.
So I want to. This is a good way to bring it back to society, and then we got to get Brandon and Sam in here. I know they got some questions for you guys too, but this is a good way. The other thing that I thought about with you guys and where you came up from that era and from those party anthems that kind of broke you into the scene. I listened back to those lyrics, man, and we got to talk cancel culture a little bit.
Right.
Because I mean, this is a long time ago, but I mean, like, do you think, and you guys are very active on social media. I see that now, like you guys, it's part, and it makes sense. Again, it's part of your DNA, right? And that makes sense. It's not really something that I'm super familiar with, as we were talking before, but I respect. I wish I knew more, but it's just I'm a little disconnected from that stuff.
It's a waste of your time.
I'll take your word for it, Johnny. But yeah, though. So with that, I mean, in society now, everyone's got a voice, and everyone's, you know, it's insane, and you got to take it with a grain of salt, right? But speaking on that, this cancel culture that's going on right now, could you guys imagine releasing that said song of Charlie showing his weenus? Or songs like Bullet or Undead, where the lyrics are talking about bitches and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
And Can we, can you guys talk on how you've evolved that?
Yeah. There's worse than those ones.
We would change the lyrics to her penis.
Her penis.
I think you're supposed to say them now.
Yeah, they penis.
Oh, sorry.
There's no way we can get away with that now. It's just crazy how people automatically assume that you're serious when you say something like that, or you mean it in a bad way when you say bitches or whatever else. It's like, I don't think for the majority, people don't mean it in that derogatory way. You know, like, we're not imagining it literally. Like, we're saying shit because it's funny and it sounds good when you spit it over some bars.
Right. It's entertainment. I mean, that goes back to it's entertaining and fun, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And that's what it's supposed to be. But I guess do you guys, like, now that it's, you know, your catalog's out there, it's still, you know, and it's still firing, like, those are still some of your more popular songs.
Yep.
Johnny, this is actually something we've talked about because we're re-recording our first 2 records.
Oh, really?
Because, you know, whatever the labels times run up and we can re-record them. This has come up in our conversations. It's like, hey, what do we do? Because we didn't mean nothing by it in a mean way. But do we re-record it? I don't want to cop out and be like, oh, we're not going to do that now. Because it really is a strange subject.
Yeah.
Because at that time, you know, you said some shit, and Charlie will say the same. It's you didn't mean it literally. You know, when you call somebody a name or something like that, it was never meant to be introspective in that sense. Yeah. Everybody started taking this stuff seriously. So now it's like, okay, where are we at? Do we re-record the same stuff?
No,
because
we're gonna change.
Someone's gonna get.
We decided to change them, right?
I'm not. I'll never sell out.
Here, I have one thing that this makes sense. My cousin.
I love that. There's turmoil in the band over. I'm not changing my fucking lyrics.
We argue all the time.
Dude, it's stupid. Like, the whole conversation is dumb to begin with.
Yeah.
In my opinion, and I think people want to be offended, and it's like, dude, you're not offended by this.
Here's the thing. Let me say one thing. Let me say one thing. My cousin, who I've known my entire life, just recently came out of the closet, and I had no idea. But he came out of the closet. He's gay, and I asked him. I was like, dude, I know I've said gay around you, like meaning, oh, those shoes are gay, or hey, my brother's gay. And I was like, did I ever offend you? And like, you were too afraid to tell me? He's like, no, because you never meant it literal. You never said those shoes are gay, like a gay person would wear it. Or you knew I was gay and you were saying I was gay. It's like, it didn't mean, the definition was completely different.
Yeah, and I think you just touched upon it. It is the connotation of the term that you're using and how you're using it, right? Which is easier to convey one-to-one, or when you're actually in person with, like when you're around somebody. It's hard to get that across in a tweet, in a text, in a comment. You don't really have that connotation.
Yeah,
for lack of a better term. It's you just don't have it. And I think that's part of, in my opinion, a little bit of the problem when we get into the societal issues with social media. Like, everyone's just taking everything way too serious. So then it becomes cancel culture. You get enough people who agree with you, and then someone's getting shit for something that's not what they meant at all.
100%. 100%. And even the word, like, let's say, I don't even know if you can say it out loud, but FAGGOT, you know what I mean? They said that.
Yeah, you definitely can't.
Okay, yeah.
You can say that.
You know what I mean? Okay, well, I'm scared, dude.
Say it.
Say it. People saying faggot. Like, it was in Superbad. They were calling each other faggots. You know what I mean? But they weren't saying it like he's a gay guy. There was just faggot meant lame or pussy or some shit. Like, it didn't mean that. It didn't mean, and if like, I would never call a gay guy a faggot. You know what I mean? But
what did you mean by pussy just now, bro? I'm pissed.
Well, no, I understand. See, that's the thing is, like, now they're going, it seems to me like the cancel culture society is going back on things that were said then and taking them to the times of now, which isn't really fair, in my opinion. It doesn't, because there's a certain way.
Pick who they call out too, right? So like Superbad isn't being shut down.
Yeah, no one's going back and canceling Superbad, but if they want to go to Hollywood Undead singing about getting bitches and partying, they might get in trouble.
I always felt like if our band got really big, they would. You know what I mean? They'd go dig through our Twitters or whatever. If our band got super big, like A-list, they would go back. These fucking losers who want to find something you did wrong. Like, they'll go back and find some mistake you made and ruin you.
I wanted to bring something up because it reminds me of it, and this is recent. I did an interview a long time ago, and I grew up in Hollywood, obviously. Yeah. So when I was a kid, if you went down to Santa Monica Boulevard, like, that was where like all the in transgender, that term didn't exist. It was
but they existed. They existed. That the term didn't, right?
Yeah, to me, like, I didn't know what the fuck that was. So a long time ago, I did an interview talking about transvestites. I didn't even know what to me, this was at this point in time, these were dudes who dressed up like chicks. That's the way I looked at it. Because I was a 17-year-old kid growing up in Hollywood.
Right.
So I brought that up, and someone's like, "Oh, I was being hateful or something." I'm like, "Yo, I didn't mean that was just what I knew at that point." Like, I didn't know that whole ecological system didn't exist at that stage, or maybe it did, but no one was talking about it.
I think that's
so more. I never meant nothing by it, but you're still getting drilled now. 15, 16 years later about dude, I don't mean, we never said anything to hurt anybody. If we said something to hurt somebody, you knew we were saying it to hurt you.
Yeah.
Right. There was never any mystique behind it. Yeah. So I think that's one of the hardest parts about it is, like, everybody's now walking back like, oh, okay, well, I didn't mean it like this, or someone didn't mean it like that. And I don't agree with that, just solely based on the fact that when someone's trying to hurt somebody and someone's not. Right. They're just saying their piece.
Well, context is everything, right? I mean, exactly. how something's said, and that's another reason why, I think cancel culture is too fast. It moves too fast because, look, people aren't looking into the context of those headlines that they're reading on social media. They're reading the headline that says so-and-so said this, and they're going, or if they are reading into it, it's like Charlie was saying, it's someone who wants nothing more than to bury you and will go find anything they can to do so.
Yeah.
Based on, a pitch line that some magazine put out.
Totally. Yeah.
Right. And on top of it, it's very easy to talk shit on the internet. You know what I mean? Like,
I think that's what it's for, which I understand. And as long as no one's getting hurt from it, I think that's fun. Everyone go have a good time doing it. But it's become such pop culture, and there's teens and kids who are taking every little bit that they see and taking it to heart as if it matters. And it doesn't fucking matter.
Like, let's say someone has a beef with you or some, so I just met Brandon today on this, and I was like, hey, you fucking bitch, you're not going to be able to do anything because I live in a different state. We're not, that kind of inequality with talking shit is what I have the biggest issue with. Is like someone could say some shit to me, real cold-hearted stuff. I can't do anything. You're not in front of me. You're not going to get hurt. I can't hurt if I said that to Brandon. So I think like people are much more comfortable now talking shit to people they don't know and saying things they have no idea that's coming out. Because what is it? It's a tweet. It's hey, let me say this shit about this dude. And that part is unfair when in the past, when I was growing up, when you guys were growing up, you could pop somebody in the mouth for mouthing off to you, or you had at least some equilibrium of vengeance.
Well, yeah, you have context or whatever. If you're shit talking to some guys back and forth, it doesn't need to always go to a punch to the face.
If you talk shit in the back, you're going to get hurt eventually.
Yeah, they know they're never going to see.
And now you can kind of do it with you could say anything to anybody, and I can go on Mike Tyson's Twitter right now and be like, hey, you little pussy. We all know Mike Tyson's gonna knock my ass out if you want it. Yeah, but I can do that. That's not fair. That's not normal. That's not a real fabric in society. And that to me is the biggest issue. It's not just what everybody said, but it's like a free will of you're this, you're that, and none of those things may be true, but you have no you have no comeback. You can't do anything.
Yeah. The other side too, though, it's hard to tell tone when it's just text. Because I know Johnny does this to me sometimes. He'll just text back K, and I would just want to punch him. I'm like, "What do you mean K? Like, what the fuck? Are you mad at me? Like, what's up?"
Now that I know that upsets him, I'm gonna do it way more. By the
way, don't do 3.
But then I just have to remember he's just a fucking boomer. He doesn't know any better. So.
A boomer?
Both Johnnies are boomers.
Like a World War II veteran.
I thought the definition was a little bit older, but apparently it isn't. It's just anyone who doesn't know what the fuck they're doing with all this stuff. So.
Yeah, I'm a boomer too, dude.
Both Johnnies are boomers.
Johnny Boomer, I like it.
Yeah. So are you? Hey, Charlie, you're a boomer as well.
No, I'm Generation X or some shit like that. I don't even know.
I don't think
we're the same age.
Yeah, we're all the same age. I don't think it really matters.
Damn. I'm a millennial, dude. Fuck you guys.
Well, I think you guys. I liked your insights on that for sure, because I think that's and anyone listening or watching right now, I think it's important that everyone understands that you got to take the validity out of what everybody else is saying in your life. It just doesn't mean anything. Maybe you're too young to know it, or maybe you're just think that it's a real life thing and you're the same age as us. But
yeah,
I just
you know what I always recommend to people is read the Stoics, read Marcus Aurelius. Like
I have a daily Stoic book, dude. I read every day. It has a page for like the day.
Yeah. So I love like Seneca. I love all the Stoics, but Epictetus in particular, and he talks a lot about that. It's like, dude, if you let someone hurt you, that's your fault. And I really think people need like that kind of backbone. I don't think anybody should be purposely hurting anybody, and I don't subscribe to that personally.
What about that?
I want to leave the world a better place than I left than when I came into it. That's the goal.
Do you ever read comments?
But at the same point,
I'm sorry, Johnny. Do you ever read comments and like someone will say something so fucking rude? Like you read a comment, whether it's like looks or just the song or a lyric or something. They say something so fucking rude that it actually fucking hurts, and like your instinct is to like be so mean back. I feel like for some reason that happened a lot more even 6 years ago. I feel like now like that happens a little bit less. So I feel like it is getting better.
Hopefully
as far as that goes.
I hope it's getting better. Maybe it was my theory to it is that or my hope rather with social media is that it's everything like a pendulum. That thing whatever you want to call social media came in like a wrecking ball for and it's slammed everybody in one direction. And then now, hopefully, we're coming back to a little bit of normalcy where everyone can see it for what it is,
Totally.
and not take it so seriously.
Totally.
Well, dude, I think a big part of it is like people realized what bullying was doing.
Mm-hmm.
So
Oh,
you have these kids blowing their heads off, and the horrible things are happening, dude. This stuff has real consequences,
right?
Whether it's online or in real life. It's like, there's people who are really getting hurt, and that to me is the biggest problem. So I think people started to recognize that and go, okay, there's real, like, so as a societal consensus, we go, oh, that's not okay anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Which I 100% agree with.
Mm-hmm.
But like I have 3 kids myself. They're all in school, and if I found out some shit that some kid was saying to her, like in person, dude, it wouldn't be good. I'd beat the shit out of the dad, the mom, the cousins. I don't give a fuck. Like, everybody's gonna pay.
Yeah.
But now there's so much more self-awareness where it's like, hey, even other kids go, yo, that's not cool. That's not okay.
Right.
To say that to somebody else.
Which is
really,
I'm glad to hear that too, because that was a question that Sam and Brandon and I were talking about before, is how do you parent through a lot of these situations? My son just turned 6, so I'm not there yet. Sam's got a daughter that's about to turn 12, so he's just about to enter that realm.
Mm-hmm.
Brandon's kid is 2, so it's like we're not there yet, but and I'm hopeful for by the time my kids are, there's not going to be the importance level that it is today, obviously.
That's what I've noticed. It's getting better. It really is. Like, I didn't think that it would. I hoped that it did, but I feel like even within the past 6-7 years, it has gotten better with people trying not to bully. Now they know, like, bullying is not cool and it has real consequences, like Johnny was saying.
No.
Yeah.
That's great news there, too.
Yeah.
I could speak for, hopefully, Sam there. I could speak for you a little bit. If it is heading in that direction, I'm sure you're pretty happy, right?
Yeah. Well, people used to leave comments like, Charlie's too good looking, like too handsome, too good at rhyming and shit.
I saw his weenie and it was too big.
Too big.
Dude.
I'm just going to keep going back to that, by the way, Charlie. I don't know if you realize that. That's going to be that's going to be the thing, the theme.
Oh, Johnny, Brandon, I'll get my little piece of advice. Like, there is some girl at my kid's school giving her a hard time. So I went like super flexed up. Like, I did push-ups before there was like this football game. Like, she's 13.
Yeah,
and I just, I'm like sitting there like a moron. I'm 40 years old at a football game acting hard to protect her.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
So I think that'll work a little bit better for somebody like you, Johnny. But like let's look at Sam for a minute over here. I don't know if
you guys get it on steroids. Dude, just get juiced up, dude. You know what my diet is? Test and blow. And those 2 things, man, you're going to get pumped up and sucked up, brother.
Dude.
Well,
Pumped up and sucked up, he said, right here. That's awesome.
The test part is kind of true. The blow part's not. So
all we can see is up your nose most of this interview.
Yeah, by the way, I'm loving it. By the way, our director, the guy who's going to be doing all the video for this when we edit it is up there in the corner, Brandon. And I know he's looking at it going, so what am I going to do with that?
No.
Yeah.
It's season 5. I don't give a fuck.
That's true.
I normally would have had like a nice setup in the studio and like been like, oh, okay, but we didn't know, dude. And this is so we have a manager. His name's Andrew.
Show your eyes.
He's probably gonna. And I want him to know he fucked up.
He fucked up.
Okay.
He fucked up. He told us
we
Thursday.
could always have you guys back when we'll cross paths again. I'm sure, and we could do something a little bit cleaner, or whatever.
Totally.
But hey, let's move on to a little bit more music. A little bit. I know Sam's got some topics from some fans and some questions from some fans for you guys. And we'll go out. We'll riff off that for a minute.
Cool.
Well, one thing I got actually for Charlie, we saw on social media, we're talking about things lasting forever. You had mentioned that you found a brother that you didn't know you had, which is kind of crazy. You didn't, being in the music scene, 23andMe seems like something you wouldn't really want to do as someone who's maybe had a previous life and finding things out that you might not want to. Was it you specifically?
Whoa, you just asked him like that? Oh shit, Sam! You just asked him like that.
That was like a loaded question.
I'm just saying. No, I mean, I'm just asking. Did you do the 23andMe, or was that? I also really want to just know about the story. That's pretty.
Yeah. No. I did the 23andMe. I didn't even think about that, dude. If I would have, who knows? But yeah, I did the 23andMe. My dad passed away in 2008, and he told me, hey, he used to always tell me, hey, Charlie or Jordan. All right, the beans have been spilled. He's like, you know what I like about you? Not a goddamn thing. He's like, I brought you in this world. I'll take you out and make another motherfucker that looks just like you. And then he used to always say that, very cute. But then he was like, one time he told me, he was like, well, by the way, there is another motherfucker that looks just like you out there somewhere. He's like, yeah, I had a son in high school that we put up for adoption. So there's some other motherfucker that looks just like you out there. So after he passed away, we like went on the search to try to find him. Like we went through social media and stuff, trying to find out if we could find this guy, and nothing happened. So that was like a 15-year thing. And then all of a sudden on this last tour we were on, we got a message on 23andMe from a guy saying, hey, I think I'm your brother. So me and my other two brothers got on the phone with him and talked to him. And he was like, so cool. Like so nice. Like I wasn't like, I felt like we couldn't find him because he didn't want to be found. Like he probably was pissed at my dad. Like, hey, you put me up for adoption. Fuck you. But he wasn't like that. I guess my dad left him a note and said, hey, me and your mom love you, and we just wanted what was best for you. We're 17 years old, and we didn't think we could provide the life that you would need. So we put you up for adoption because we thought you'd have a better life. And he did have a very good life. He was adopted by a college professor and a stay-at-home mom. So we got on the phone with him, and I just so happened to be playing in North Carolina, like an hour away from where he lives. So we came to the show, and we filmed the whole thing and hung out, and he was just super cool. It was like such a surreal experience. Like it did not feel real, still doesn't. But he's coming out here in like 4 days. He's driving from North Carolina to Nashville, and both my brothers will be here. So we're going to spend some time with them. It's a trip, man, to meet a brother that you never met.
Does he indeed, as your father say, look just like you?
He does look a lot like me, just way older. But the trippy part is he vapes and fucking shreds the guitar, which is crazy.
Yeah. Oh, it's a family trait.
It's a family trait. But my other brothers don't vape or play the guitar, or my dad. So it's like now I see like there is like music in the family or guitar.
That's
and
really
vaping.
cool.
And vaping.
Yeah. Don't want to miss that part of it. But no, that's a crazy story though. Like Sam was telling me about that, and I was like, dude, that's fucking wild.
Yeah, it's pretty fucking cool, man.
Yeah. Well, I'm interested in hearing how that meeting goes for you guys a little bit later. We'll stay in touch and hear about it. But I know Sam's got a couple other things over there, right?
Well, the other one for Johnny. So you had mentioned previously on another podcast that you do some other writing, but it never went in. I know that you're a reader. Do you do any novel work or anything like that as a reader, or what other writings do you do?
Yeah, I'm actually trying to. Well, I'm writing a self-help book. I'm not trying to. I am, but my own viewpoints on the matter and stuff. So. I mentioned like I love the Stoics, and I love Carl Jung, and I've kind of been through like the ringer in some ways. Bad stuff, good stuff, but I have my own interpretation of it. So I was like, oh, and this goes back to our previous conversation. I wanted to write something that like, the platitudes and stuff. I get them. But there's a certain point where people aren't being like communicated to, like especially young people. And I was hoping I'm not going to be egotistical enough to say I'm going to get that, but I'm trying. And that's why I started writing music in general, is try and like kind of say my piece. I think that's why we all do it. But the song form is different. You got 4 minutes, and that's kind of it. Unless you're in Avenged Sevenfold, and you have like 6 minutes. We can't get away with that.
6 minutes. You're going for the singles if it's at 6 minutes, dude.
Yeah, dude. We can't do it. But you want to say something to people, and I feel like that like my opportunity is in front of me, and in that sense, I don't give a flying fuck about like selling books or anything, but I do want to like try and help people if I can. I'm not even sure if I can, but I figure, the way I always kind of looked at life, in the interest, like you kind of come into the world one way and you want to leave it another way. And building that bridge between those 2 points is like what life is. We're trying to like, we're fathers now. Everybody on here is a dad. Right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
That changes you. A lot of things change you throughout life that I did not see coming. So you're trying to like, bridge the gap between who we are and who we want to be. And I guess like, from my experiences, I just want to like tell people, hey, because it really is hard at certain points, but I think like I can say something to somebody that might help them, even one person. That's all. Yeah. So yes. That's my mission, I guess.
Is it just general philosophy, or are you breaking out into situations, or how is it kind of based on your story and then from there, or how are you structuring it, or do you not want to? If you want to talk about it,
no, I don't mind, dude. I love talking about it. Like to me, yeah, no. So it's when I was born. So. Without getting into like detail, obviously, things were hard, and I reacted to those things. I graduated high school in juvie. I was in trouble all the time. I was always, fighting. There's always something like that. And for me, the biggest realization, and even through my trials and tribulations within the band, there's points where Jordan or Charlie and everybody, they hated being around me because I was a cokehead, I was a drug addict, all kinds of, it was bad. Through all that process, I think I've learned to forgive myself for those things, but there's something I have to, like in part, because I know how slippery that slope is. Even when we were on tour with you guys, Johnny, I was like, I was a full-blown drug addict, and that's not good. It's not a good place to be. I was in alcohol, all this kind of shit. And I feel like if I went through all those experiences and I didn't say anything, that would be a real issue for me. So I have to say something. I'm not saying it's going to be pretty. I'm not saying it's going to be even readable I don't know, but it's our responsibility at this point.
It's things that you've learned that you want to like kind of jumpstart someone who hasn't gone through those things or is in the beginning of those things.
Yeah, or you want to stop them from doing it.
Totally.
You want to stop them from going down that same path. Yeah. I guess.
Yeah.
I went and do you know who Jelly Roll is? You guys know who Jelly Roll is?
Familiar with him. I've never met the man.
He's a great guy. We did a couple songs with him recently, me and Charlie. He kind of inspired because he's like, the dude's from the hood, just like me, the bad background. And he played like Bridgestone Arena out here in Nashville, and donated all the money to like, helping people. And I was like, damn, like people do that stuff. He's very inspiring in that sense where it's like, I think he wants to tell his story. And of course we all do in song form, but I think there's more to it than that, where it's like, if you offer yourself up, you're going to get a lot further than just, hey, we wrote some music. So that's what I'm trying to get to.
Cool.
Well, it's it's the effort, and it's the valiant effort there. And whenever you do finish that, man, you let us know and come back on the show. We'll talk a little bit deeper into that. We could do something a little bit more long form, a little bit more one-on-one with that, and kind of focus on that journey.
Absolutely, man. I'd love to.
But yeah, there was we'll take it back to a little bit of fun side and then get into the album. And I'm sure Brandon's got a couple things. But one of the things we got from our Discord, I asked, we have a members only Discord, and I asked them what they wanted to know about you guys. And one of the things was very, very funny to me and silly, but I'm going to ask it anyway. What strain of marijuana do you guys prefer? Are you indica? Are you sativa? Are you neither at this point? What's the point? What's the score here?
My favorite forever has always been Jack Herrera, which is a sativa. I've always been a sativa guy, but now I switch it up. I hate it when like you ask someone, oh, what strain is this? Like the kind that gets you high, that make you feel. Or you know what?
They still say that. I mean, there's dispensaries now. I remember when I had to buy it from the dude around the corner, I would just take what he gave me. But like, there's dispensaries now. I'm like, nah, dude. I'm gonna connoisseur this shit. I want to get in there like a fine fucking wine.
Exactly. It's like, oh, what kind of whiskey is this? Oh, the kind that gets you drunk. It's like, fuck you, asshole.
That's a great point.
All of great analogy. Different shit. So I've always loved Jack Herrera. Has always been my favorite, or Jack Herrera. I don't know if I'm saying it right. But that's always been my favorite. But now it's kind of like I like everything. Like I like to switch it up and do indica. But I smoked some of J-Dog in our band's indica shit, and it made me feel so fucking stupid. It was insane. It was like the dick in the dirt indicas, I'm not a fan of. But I like OG and like that kind of thing, and obviously hybrids. So I switch it up. But I'd say like if there was the one strain that is always like Old Grateful to me is Jack Herrera.
Right. What about you, Johnny?
After what I just said, I probably shouldn't say I like drugs. Yeah, cocaine is probably my favorite strain.
That's a great strain. You got to just watch out for the fentanyl these days. How about you, Brandon? Brandon, I know you've been partaking again quite a bit lately, right? So what's...
Yeah, but dude, I haven't been smoking flower. I've just been smoking those vapes. I don't even know what the fuck they are. I'm just buying them from the neighborhood guy. But Jack was my favorite too when I was living in Cali. That's what I would buy. Good. That's the best shit, dude. Good. It's just a good high. You feel so good. You're up. You could do shit during the day.
Awesome. Yeah. It's not like sativa where it's too much. Like, fuck, now I feel like insane. It's just perfect. Mellow. I've never laughed harder than like getting high as hell on Jack Herrera and like talking with my friends. And like, that's like the best strain to me.
So this is a stupid question, but when we were younger, I'm 41. Did they have was there sativa and indica back then?
There was. I think for the most part, I talked to my my mother-in-law's here and my wife, but my father-in-law has been smoking weed since the 60s, and he said there used to be 3 strains. He's like, there was brickweed, Mexican brickweed, there was Thai sticks, and one other one. But he's like, for the most part, the weed back then was sativa because it was all outdoor grown. So, yeah. So he's like,
interesting.
That's like the weed they were smoking in the 60s was sativa. It's just not as strong.
Makes sense.
The more you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be a drug talk on Drinks with Johnny. And now it's the more you know. We're trying to teach the kids, right? We're trying to teach the kids.
Sure. Do you do edibles at all?
I don't. I would have probably loved edibles, but before I really ever did them, my wife back here, one time I was hungover as fuck, and she's like, oh, I have the best hangover cure for you. So she passed me a quesadilla. I'm like, oh, greasy food, perfect. I ate it and then was like walking around like, I think someone slipped acid into my drink. Like I thought I was on fucking acid, but she cooked a quesadilla with fucking weed oil, and who knows how strong it was, but I'm telling you, it was the strongest shit ever, where I felt like I was on acid. So after that,
that's the problem. You got to measure that shit out.
No,
you know?
shit.
I put this in my drink now. I just get like the little things, and I just add it to my drink, and then I know exactly what I'm going to get.
It's probably like 5-10 milligrams, something like that.
You can measure it out. So like 0.25 of this dropper is like a 5 milligram serving, or you could go higher if you want, you know. But like, and it's just a perfect. I like edibles. Like me and Brandon, I know why he's bringing this up. So we had a discussion the other day. He's like, I can't do edibles. And I'm like, dude, that's like, I'll hit the vape every once in a while or hit some flower. But for me, it's just, I like just grabbing a quick gummy, throwing it in, or making a drink with it. I like making cocktails too,
right?
With weed in it. So it's like, or THC rather. But
it's a different high too. It really is. It's a different high. Edibles or vape or flower. It's a different high. It's a different feeling, and I feel like it's like to each their own. Like I prefer flower. Some people prefer vapes. Other people don't like those two, but only like edibles. Like it does hit you different, right? Like edibles go through your liver. hitting the vape or flower, they don't. So it's like, it depends on what you're into.
Yeah, totally. Well, my liver's already shot from all my drinking anyway, so I figured I might as well.
Oh, dude.
Might as well just, I actually think it's cleaner. I think I'm cleaning it out now at this point. So, you know. But I digress real quick. We got to get into, real quick before I let you guys go. Thanks for your time, by the way. Album's coming out, California, April 28th. You guys are going to be hitting the road here too, I was told. Yeah,
we're supposed to be going to Europe in June. And then, we have the deluxe of Hotel California coming out real soon. And we have I don't know if we're supposed to say, but a song with Jelly Roll on there. So that'll be huge. And then another tour coming. Can we talk about this? Who knows? Whatever. We're going on a tour with Tech Nine in October.
Right.
Oh, hell yeah. We had Tech Nine right here on the show. Tell him we said what's
up.
Oh,
cool. Hell yeah. Yeah,
he's the boy.
That.
He's a good dude.
Yeah.
We did a song with him like 2 years ago.
Yep. Yeah, song.
What was that, Johnny?
Yep. Johnny, what was the song?
We did a song with him like 2 years ago. He's like, I think 2 years ago during the COVID thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's the man, dude. So we're stoked.
Yeah.
He's an awesome dude.
Yeah. Super, super nice guy. Like,
Just
the only thing I have against him is
the
only thing I have against him is I told him to his face is that he's a fucking Chiefs fan and I'm a Raiders fan. So I'm like, come on, man. And then next time I talk to him, he's going to be gloating again about another fucking Super Bowl.
Yeah. They got, dude, Mahomes, you guys are fucked. I don't know what is it, Garoppolo now? I'm a Raiders fan too.
Jimmy G, he belongs in Vegas. I'm okay with that.
Right.
Jimmy G belongs.
Dude,
in Vegas.
that guy's a party animal. He does not belong in Vegas. He's going to be in.
No, that's
you
what.
guys are in deep
dude,
shit.
maybe he'll bring it back to the Raiders that I loved of the '80s, where they party and then still go out and fucking play.
No, totally. They're just going to go like 6 and I don't know 10.
What else is new? I've been a Raiders fan my whole life. You think that scares me? Going 6 wins? I'm like, hey, that's all right.
That's not that bad, right?
A guy in our band, Dylan's a huge Raiders fan, and we had a tour that started in Nashville, and the Titans just played the Raiders and lost to the Raiders, and Dylan was wearing a Raiders jersey, and he doesn't drink, but he came out with me to bars, and I was getting hammered. So like when we were watching a band, every time it was quiet, I'd go Raiders, and then turn around and like make it look like it wasn't me, so they'd all look at him because he's the only asshole in a Raiders jersey. They'll be like, "Shut the fuck up, dude! Fuck you!" And I just did it all night. It was great. He's like, "Stop! Please stop! No more."
Dudes. Well, again, guys, thank you guys. Hey, Brandon, Sam, you guys have anything before we let these guys get back to their families?
Yeah. I kind of mentioned to the guys earlier about a great trick that Johnny has with a pocket knife for new guys on his crew. Do you want to expand what I heard on another podcast?
Oh, is it on the penis off thing?
Yeah. I think Brandon, our co-host here, it's right up his alley of something him and his friends would do. So,
well, dude, it's funny because Charlie taught me this trick. I don't know if he's scared because his wife's behind him, but he did this thing where he turned the knife upside down. He pulled his dick out, and we're at a party, and it looked so real because it's like compressing the dick. You know, you could see the blades in there. So you're like, oh, you know. So, of course, I saw him do it once, and I ran with it. And, like, I used to do that on tour, like, if we had people on the bus. And I would say, oh, you know, this fucking dick's caused me enough trouble, which it has. I'm tired of this thing. And I would pull it out on the cutting board on the bus and just start slicing. And people...
I don't remember that from when we played shows together, man.
I wouldn't do that to you. You guys, dude, I have too much respect for you guys. I actually wish I did now.
Now I wish I would have seen it. So when Sam brought it up, I'd be like, yeah, dude, I remember when he did that.
Is there nudity allowed on this podcast?
Dude, it's whatever we want. We can do whatever the fuck we want.
You guys want to see?
I don't know how to answer that, Johnny.
I just gotta say, like, I definitely thought we would have seen Charlie's dick before.
No, I know.
Dude, I'm telling you, he doesn't show his cock anymore.
He took the torch from me, dude. I taught him that trick, and after that, I passed it on to him, you know? That's what it is.
How about we save that for... Let's save that for in person, because your camera angle's a little funny. Like, I want to make sure we really get a good shot of this.
No, I know.
Proper lighting. We'll get a fluffer in here for you.
Yeah.
I like how no one said no, either. We all just got quiet.
I'm down, but I don't want to get, in trouble.
Save it for when you're promoting your like nice self-help book. Like, hey, look, check.
Yes.
By the way,
We'll do it on the book. We'll use the book as the cutting board.
Dude, that's a good title for it. Chop your own cock off, because that's the symbolism for the ego, isn't it?
Yeah.
It can be. Yeah, you gotta get rid of that ego. That's for damn sure.
And where is it centered on the male body? The cock.
Maybe. Yeah. Well, again, guys, thank you guys very much for being here. You guys go back to your families. We'll wrap it up over here. Again, everybody, go check out Hollywood Undead, coming to you guys soon.
Yeah.
With the deluxe album and everything like that. Looking forward to it, guys.
Johnny, thanks again.
Thanks, Johnny. Thanks, Brandon. Nice to meet you guys.
Sorry
Likewise.
Sorry once again for being late. And by the way, I've been watching this thing, the Drinks with Johnny, since the early days. I remember seeing when Brandon Saller was on it for the first time. I think it was new. Yeah. So I've been watching it, man, and it's really good. It's really cool. And I hope to one day do it in person, because that would be cool.
Absolutely.
We could actually have Drinks with Johnny.
Absolutely.
Cool.
Yeah, next time we're crossing our paths together, we'll definitely make sure that happens.
For sure. All right, awesome.
That's when I'm going to chop my cock off right in front of you, Johnny.
I can't wait, Johnny. I can't wait.
Yeah.
All right. See you guys later.
Later, guys.
Cheers.
Thanks, Joe.
Cheers.
Cheers, boys.
Well, that was fun. I'm glad that they got here. It was a little late, but it's okay. They got here. What'd you guys think?
We got really close to our first full frontal on this show. Very close.
I was just thinking from a logistic. I'm like, I don't think you can do that, because you can't.
I mean, we definitely, like, YouTube wouldn't let us collect ads on that. I don't even think that.
No, we'd have to censor it.
Oh, okay. Well, good to know for next time.
There you go.
All right, everyone.
Content-wise, they probably, I don't know.
I don't know. They're probably not going to like that content, even just talking about it. But hey, we do what we want here. All right, guys. Thanks again for watching, listening, doing all those wonderful things. Subscribe. All this shit that I have to say every single time. You guys want to take an outro for me?
No.
Sure.
Go for it, Brandon. You're the pro.
I'm not. Make sure you subscribe. Hit that like button down here if you're watching on YouTube, because we just like seeing those hearts and the thumbs up. It makes us feel good. We talked about reading the comments. Leave some dirty comments for us, because you want to try to hurt our feelings, we're going to hurt yours too. We're going to leave even worse comments about you. No, not really. We're nice people. We love you. And we hope you come back next week on Drinks with Johnny.
Cheers.